What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of BurlyFishing. Today we got the full review of all the subscription boxes that we unbox on the channel. We're bringing back the Mystery Tackle Box, Monsterbass, 6 Cents, and Warrior Tackle Supply. We also have a giveaway today. So I'm gonna be filling this here lure lock box, which if you're not familiar with lure lock, let me show you this real quick. It's got like this tacky material on the inside, which allows you to take baits like this 6 Cents crankbait, and it just sticks in there. We're gonna fill that up with 8 baits, and I'm gonna grab you 3 bags of plastics. I'll show you what's in the giveaway at the end of the video today. We'll be kind of like filling this up throughout the video. In order for you to get a chance to win this giveaway, you gotta help me get this video to 1,000 likes. It's gonna mean a lot of help as far as you like the video, share it with anybody you know who fishes. That's gonna help it get to 1,000 likes a lot faster, because as soon as it does, that's when I'm gonna pick a random winner out of the comments below. So in order to have a chance to win, you do have to like the video, be subscribed to BurlyFishing, obviously, and drop me a comment below and hashtag BurlyFishing. That's BurlyFishing. That way I see it. That's what I'm looking for when I draw the random comment. Hey, by the way, we do a giveaway like this every single month, so you might want to stay subscribed. Just saying. All right, let's get to this. I got all the baits out for the 6 Cents right now because I don't keep them in this. It's a big red sack, Santa's July sack. So they're out on the table. So I'm gonna go through 6 Cents first, then Warrior Tackle Supply, MTB, and Monsterbass. So 6 Cents. First off, we got this sexy Spanish bone crankbait. This dives to 6 to 9 feet. Nice. And it is a, honest to goodness, great crankbait. I love this crankbait a lot. I like this color. It's sort of like this, white, almost like a bone color, right? But it's also like almost a glow-in-the-darky type color, with a little translucence on the bottom, which looks really good. 6 Cents always packs in some good treble hooks, which are good for catching dang fish. I took this out on the river, and I was able to catch fish on this on the river. I did almost lose it once. It floated back up. We got lucky. I retrieved it. But all in all, great crankbait. I wasn't too surprised. I actually have like 2 or 3 of these in different colors. I got like some craw patterns, some darker color patterns. And then now I have this one, probably one of my favorite baits in the box, the sack that came this month. Next up, this is a bait that I actually don't fish that much. This is, again, another bone color, so it's a little more of this like white. I kind of like this blue, purple on the front there. That's kind of nice. The eyes are, of course, freaking crazy. Those big black eyes look awesome. But it's a wake bait, so we got this, lip that comes straight down. It's gonna cause this bait to move like this in the water just on the retrieve. You don't have to do anything but cast and retrieve this thing. Weighs almost a ½ ounce and has pretty heavy rattle in it, so it makes some dang noise and splashes a ton of water. Pretty sweet bait. This is one that we caught a fish like right at the boat, and it actually scared me. I almost jumped out of the kayak. If you guys watched the 6 Cents on the water review, not a type of fishing I do a lot of. I'm gonna throw this in the giveaway actually. I know one of you guys will benefit from this bait a lot more than I will, so I wanna see you guys fishing it and landing some dang hogs, right? So we're gonna throw that bad boy in. Next up, we got the popper. So staying towards the top of the water column here, right on top actually, we have this splashback popper. Kind of a unique shape for a popper. It's got this flat top. I like the colorway that they had on this, sort of more of a bait fishy, bluegill, almost like shad pattern mixture here. Looks pretty cool. Feather coming off the back is tied on well. I mean, you guys know the difference between that and like a cheap treble on the back. Hooks are sharp, of course. And then I could tell you this thing splashes a crap ton of water. I did struggle with it a bit, but again, I was on the river, not exactly ideal conditions for a popper. I was able to finally catch a bass off the rocks in a little channel that I found. So worked out pretty well in the end. It is a great popping bait. I just have way too many heckin' poppers. So again, I'm gonna throw this in the giveaway box this month because I think one of you guys can hammer on this more than I can. So I want you to enjoy it. Throwing that in. There we go. That's the 2 from 6 Cents. Next 2 baits that we got from 6 Cents are the square bills. So first up, we had the finesse square bill. Now, surprisingly for me, this thing has a heavy rattle. It's called a finesse square bill. Heavy rattle. Dives like 1 to 3 feet. You can see it's got this tiny little bill to it right there. So I was casting this thing out. Again, I was on the river. just doing a retrieve from the bank and ended up snagging, actually had like 3-4 bites in one spot. Once I kind of like found the fish, the smallies were just hammering this thing. They loved it. Missed, I think I popped off on like 2 of them. If you guys go back and watch that video, and then I finally landed one. It did catch me the smallest fish of the day, but all in all, a fish is a fish. It's a pretty sweet bait. It's really easy to cast, which I was surprised by. I thought it was gonna be super light. It's got a sweet color pattern to it. I kind of like this bait, I really do. So I think it's a pretty sweet square bill and a good way to vary things up as far as like just having that smaller bill, not diving as far. Action's a little different, you know, good way to vary things up if you're just throwing square bills and not getting the bites you want, but you know that they're gonna get it. They're going for that reaction strike. You just gotta change it up a little bit. Last body bait, so this is the 5th body bait that came in 6 cents. Again, 6 cents, all in all, like you're getting tons of body baits. Like that's the thing. But they do make some of the best body baits on the market, I will say that. So here is the Black Magic Square Bill. This was my favorite bait from the 6 cents sack that came out this month. I love this color. It's a color that I see in their advertisements a lot. It's just, you know, this black body with the blue stripes, but also if you look at like the head colors, the bottom colors right on the belly there, the eye color is pretty lit. It kind of changes as it moves, which gives you a little added flash in the water. And then this sort of like opaque lip is a good variation as well. Great bait. I was just hammering these. Once I found like a little spot where there seemed to be a bunch of smallies staged up, I kept casting this out, like just running it through the rocks, just dragging it through. But this thing was just slaughtering smallies. So great square bill. I was happy with that. Favorite bait in that sack this month for sure. Last thing they had was their Clout 5.4. So this is your stick bait worm, and it's a stick bait worm. I can't say that these are better or worse than other stick baits on the market. I mean, I like it. I think the action's good. I think that the shape, this little like geometric shape that they use for the body of the worm is kind of cool. Good variation. This color, maybe not the best for where I fish. I thought it would be good. Kind of struggled with it. Ended up picking up a smallie on a drop shot with this rigged on it. Like not even trimmed down. Full length worm. Caught a smallie on it. So, I mean, it heckin' works. Not my favorite stick bait, I can say, but a decent one nonetheless. It's probably like up there in the middle. Maybe like with the Lunker Hunt stick baits. Like decent durability, decent action. Nothing like super special to me, but all in all, a decent plastic. So that was the 6 cent sack. All in all, I think it was, you know, it's a great bag. It's always up there as like my favorite subscription box or sack that comes for the month. I do heckin' love it, and I'm gonna keep getting it for a while because I'm fine with stocking up on these baits now that I'm not getting to keep all of them. I'm giving a couple to you guys every month, right? Next box we got is the Warrior Tackle Supply. This is the XL box. Let's run through the baits that came in this month's box. First up, we got the Big Bite Baits Smallie Smasher. This was the best bait in the box, hands down, no questions asked. It was the one that I knew I could hammer on. This is that chartreuse and white body drop shot with the little paddle tail. And we got this ribbing. So it has some crazy action in the water. Rigged it up to my medium rod, which is straight braid, which didn't cause any issues on the water I was on. This was like one of my favorite lakes, my secret favorite lake at a campground that I love to go to. But just had that little woo tungsten at the bottom and a little like tiny mosquito, like #1, #2, something tiny size hook that I just nose hooked this thing on. What did I lose? I lost 2 of them to bites, like just missed bites, and then landed a fish after that. Then we get into the rest of the baits in the box, and oh my gosh, you guys, was I kind of disappointed. Don't get me wrong with this box. I'm not trying to hate. I will point out something I didn't know that some of you guys pointed out to me was that Warrior Tackle Supply does give back a portion of their proceeds to veterans, so there is a sense of good there. That said, we still want good baits that catch dang fish and, you know, are fishable or enjoyable to fish, or things that I would look at and say, I would want to fish that. And that's just not the case with this box. Like, I didn't want to fish any of these baits. Still don't. They're going up on the wall, or I'm going to give them to you guys, and I'm only going to give you the 2 that I think are decent for you guys, so stay tuned for that. So first up, we had this guy. And a couple things I'll say about this. This is a swim style bait. I do have another one here from Weston, which is just made a lot better. So I can tell, just looking at the 2 of these, The Weston has a better body. It's got a better rattle, the little thump. This is a little tinny, not a big fan of it. The weights are the same. Oh, the Weston's a little bit heavier. We got 32 grams versus 25 grams. Size is, Weston is maybe, I don't know, just a little bit longer. They're both diving to the same depths, but honestly, like I've fished this one too. This is just much more fishable. The idea with these though is it's kind of like a giant lipless. So you can run it and it's going to, on a straight retrieve, just kind of do this thing, nice and slow through the water, pretty high in the water column. Or, and this is how I actually got that pike to bite, we did catch a pike on this, is you just kind of like pop the rod, it's a little twitch, and it just slashes faster. So I did like some rapid twitches and it drew a pike out, little tiny guy, smallest pike of the day, came out and bit this bad boy. Honestly, color-wise, this is something that could work better in like my rivers. Doesn't work typically in most of the lakes. It's that aggressive fire tiger. But just, you know, I'm just not super stoked on the body shape of this. I wasn't a big fan of the paint. I'm not even gonna throw this in the giveaway because I don't want to give this to you guys. You know, I might fish this in the future. We'll see. It's just not a very well-made bait. And that was something that you guys said in the comments was like, oh, Warrior Tackle Supply, I heard they make really good house baits. If this is what I'm looking at, not really good so far. But we're gonna look at the other ones, which they do look decent. The other ones look decent. They're just not baits that I really fish. And you earned your spot right here. Live there, Mr. Guy. All right, next up, we actually had this Weston. This is like the big fatty or something, the Fat Boy Slim. So there's just a big fat crankbait. This thing does not dive at all. It's super shallow diving. It's 24 grams. Insane rattle system in this thing. It is super loud. And the colorway on this is basically poison toad. That's what I've been calling it, the poison dart frog. It's just super aggressive. I mean, not a bad bait. Not one that I really am never gonna fish this bait again. So I'm, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys this one because I know somebody can hammer on this thing. So this gets us, we got top water from 6 cents. This is gonna put you a little bit lower in the water column. Super loud. Again, caught a pike on this, actually trolling. Easy to cast though, trebles are decent. I think you guys will hammer on this thing for sure. Let me throw that in the box. So if you guys notice the trend here, it's like, these are fishable baits. Don't tell me they're not fishable. Like, I get it, I agree. Did they catch fish? Yes, they did. Most of them caught pike. Not exactly what I was expecting, which was the other thing from this box. They responded in the comments of my videos for the Warrior Tackle Supply unboxing and on the water reviews and said that these are multi-species boxes. I didn't see that laid out on the website. Like if you go to the website, you pick your species, but then you just get a multi-species box. So if I pick bass and I want a bass box and I get pike lures, I'm wet. Anyways, so just another side note on this. This would be the next like most fishable bait. I'm gonna give you guys this one too. So this is the deep diving crankbait, again from Warrior Tackle Supply. Again, like I'll give them like the eyes are pretty cool on these things. I'm not, not gonna knock like that design. It's all right. Colorway looks pretty good. This is good standard, more naturally colored type deep diving crankbait. This thing dives real heckin' deep too. I think it was about 12 to 16. So it's a pretty deep diving crank. We picked up a pike on this bad boy too. I just ran this off of like a steep drop off. So I paralleled the drop off, ran this thing all the way down, retrieved it back at a steady rate to the boat, and pike came out and hammered it. So I know you guys can hammer on this one. All right, last two baits that came in this one. First up, we've got this giant jig. Ain't nothing wrong with a big jig. I don't fish them too often in Michigan, but this is a good like structure style jig. So we got that almost football head shape right there. It's a Z-Man cross eyes. We got the brush guards pretty decent. Hook super stout. I mean, it's a good jig. It comes in that candy grass type color, that purple, that green in there in that skirt. I like this style of jig. It's something that I will fish again. It's a bit heavy for the water I was fishing, and the water I was fishing was also like heavy matted grass. So it's just hard to fish something like this around that. That said, we did make it work. We caught a heckin' rock bass on this. Biggest rock bass of the day. Came out from the only dock on this lake on this freaking jig. And we had it rigged up with this big old craw trailer on there too, that old Guggen Baits craw, which is ridiculous. So I was really surprised by that. But all in all, decent jig, man. I mean, that's probably the second best bait in the box. And last and definitely least, we had a sinking jerkbait. I don't know why I got this. So it's pink and silver. I think I said in my unboxing video, it's like I would be throwing this maybe in rivers, maybe if I'm going for like steelies, or if I'm fishing salmon, or in the winter, it's a sinking jerkbait. Like I could go out and maybe fish for pike with this thing. But it's summer, it's just not a bait that I'm gonna grab. Like even if I'm grabbing a jerkbait, it's not this, it's a floating jerkbait. Something that I can actually twitch and move. There's no way to retrieve this thing at the right pace during the summer. So I don't know why we got this. I don't think I got a response from Warrior Tackle Supply about that either. I think they just said like something supply lines, and we ended up with this. I don't know why, not happy about it. This is not a bait I will fish in the summer ever. We'll see if we fish it. I'll throw it in my winter box right now. We'll see if we fish it then. So that's it for Warrior Tackle Supply. Another box down, we got 2 to go. Let's go. So next up we got MTB. MTB was also a surprising box this month, mostly because it came with a heck ton of plastics. So here we are. 4 out of the 8 baits in this box were plastics. Not something I want to see as a bass fisherman that's been fishing for a while now. This is like 10% of the plastics I own. So the more I get of these in a box, the less happy I am. Like I am a fisherman that's more excited to see these in a box, or at least a jig, or spinnerbait, or chatterbait. Those are things I could use more of. These are things I could use less of. Just saying, that was kind of my biggest gripe, I would say, with the box this month from MTB. That said, they catch dang fish. I caught fish on all the plastics. I did not catch a single fish in the body baits. We'll get to those in a second. Let's cover the plastics first. This was my favorite plastic in the box. This is a Lucky John Pro Series Tioga. It's a little 3-inch paddle tail. You guys can see there. It's got an interesting color where it's like this dark green with a red tinge to it. On the On the Water review, this was the one that was catching the most fish. And on a follow-up day, Paul and I went out. I don't know when that video is gonna come out. We had a really tough day on the water, baking in the sun, basically. And the only thing that worked that day was drop shot. This drop shot, specifically. Paul was throwing drop shot, I was throwing drop shot. I rigged this up, I started catching fish. The only fish we caught that day were on this. So that is like the big giant plus to this box this month. It helped me on a tough day. So best bait in the box right there. And I know it's a plastic. I said I don't want more plastics, but I guess drop shot plastics is different from all the heckin' worms I got. Next up, we got the X Zone stick bait. This is actually one of my favorite stick baits. I will say that, because this is the true center. Mostly just because it's easy to rig, but it's also decent durability. So you guys can see right here, we have this extra little band in the middle, right? And that's where your hook goes through. Not here, but here, the true center. If you're rigging Nico, maybe you go here, right? So you got your hook point coming up to the tail, and that'll work really well too. We fish Nico in a couple of videos this month as well, but that's the wacky setup right there. Great worm, good color. It was the first non-drop shot bite I got of the day on the MTB on the Water review. So all in all, decent plastic there. This guy, this is the Stanley Jigs Mud Puppy. Just looks like this. Just has this like crazy head with a little worm on the end. If you guys didn't know, and I did this in the On the Water review, you can just break this little front creature head off and you've got a black and blue Senko. This is how I ended up actually catching a fish. I just Nico rigged this black and blue worm, had this thing ripped off, threw this on a jig, threw it a couple different ways to see if I could catch something on that, and just got nothing for the day. I also fished this as is, Texas rig, the way that they recommend right here. I'll just say the way that they recommend it, that hook does not stay put very well. They have you bring the hook point out here. It actually works a little bit better if you hide the hook right between these two little pads here. That's just what I noticed on the water. So I would actually take like an EWG hook, Texas rig it where the hook point is coming up and then through this little space, which is what I thought it was for, but they tell you to rig it the other way. It's a weird choice on their part. I don't get it. Decent bait though. Durability, questionable. Broken half after like one fish. So there's that. Last plastic we have in the box is an obvious favorite. This is the Z-Man Turd Minnows. The TRD, the real deal turds. It's a Z-Man Elastec. Elastec is hyper durable. That is amazing on a drop shot, because drop shot, when you're nose hooking, because you get better action when you nose hook, it's just that finesse presentation, you end up losing a lot of your plastics, right? Because they just pop off the nose. That's what happened to my big bite baits, the Smallie Smasher. This guy does not, right? And it stays alive for a real long time. That said, those Lucky Johns were pretty durable as well. I gotta give them that. But this would be one of my favorite drop shot baits as well. I think I mentioned in the video, like green pumpkin's great if you're not getting bites. Kind of like having some chartreuse dip. You just dip that thing in there and give it a little highlight on the tail. I think that would crush it. So now we get to the other baits in the box. We're gonna start with my least favorite, which I actually said my buddy Paul, co-host of the BurlyFishing podcast, go subscribe and enjoy. Paul would love this one. This is that Northland tackle, right? We got the paddle tail right there, treble coming out the bottom, big hook up on top. This thing weighs a ton. I think it was 5/8 of an ounce, maybe more. It wasn't really listed on the box, but it's heavy. I took it to a lake where we had like muskie and pike, and I thought I could get one of those on this. No dice, no dice. Might have been too hot that day, but it is what it is. Interesting bait, not a type of bait I throw at all, ever. Just not, it's not for me. Just don't see the value in a bait like this because I don't want to use it. I just don't enjoy fishing this style. I know some people do, and more power to them, just not what I like to see in a box, right? So probably my least favorite bait in the box was this one. Then we had this lipless. This was the biggest joke in the box because these are on clearance at Dick's Sporting Goods. A couple people commented back and they agreed with me. I said it in the unboxing. These things are like 3 for 15 bucks, not 1 for 15 bucks, MTB. Don't you fib to me, sir. This is not $15. This is at best $5, guaranteed. But this is that lipless bait ball. It's from Live Target. You guys know, I know Live Target stuff is in the clearance rack all the time at Dick's Sporting Goods and your sporting goods stores. So if you want to get it cheap, just go to the store, get it there. This is not worth 15 bucks. I'm not going to say anything else about it. It fishes like a lipless does, and it looks like a bunch of little bait fish, right? And it makes a lot of noise. And if you throw it through a ball of bait fish, you got a good shot at hooking up into a bass. I did have a heartbreaking miss on this, so my comment below would be, remember that time that I tried to rush the fish into the boat and that was dumb, but at the same time he was only hooked by one of these trebles? That's why I lost him, and it was sad. But all in all, it's a lipless bait. I just don't see that it's $15 in value. I think that's nonsense. Then we had this guy, surprising bait in the box. This is the most surprising bait in the box. This is that Bill Lewis, I think it's called the Stutter Step. Threw away all my packaging. I don't remember the dang names, but I think it's called the Stutter Step. This thing walks like a champ. If you guys are struggling with a walking bait, I guess one thing I would say is like if you're trying to get into topwater walking baits, like a pencil bait like that, or like the old Monsterbass Ragnar Patriot right there, then the best thing I can say is practice, practice, practice. You just got to get used to the cadence and rhythm with it and how to like move your rod. That said, if you want to just cheat, get this thing because it walks like a freaking champ. This thing is amazing. So it was easier for me. In a kayak, I struggle walking a bait, you know, doing the walk the dog method because I can't have the rod like vertical like you can in a bass boat. In a bass boat, you're up higher. You can have the rod way down and just pop it, no problem. I have to hold it like here to do that. In a kayak, it's not ideal. You can learn to like walk it to the side. I just personally don't do very well with that. So again, take my own advice. Maybe I'll just practice, practice, practice. But this thing allowed me to do that. I was able to walk it to the side. Unfortunately, it was not a topwater day. I was not getting any chance at hooking up on this thing. I tried a lot with it, threw it in between docks, threw it around shallow grass and cover, just no dice. But I'll give it that it walks really well. I think it has great action, great sound, and I think it definitely will catch some fish. The last bait we had in the box, I unfortunately jacked up the hooks on this, so I can't throw it in the giveaway. This is the Weston Hollow Body Swim. It's a swim bait, like the ones we talked about from Warrior Tackle Supply and Weston before, but it's hollow body. Interesting. It's actually got like this, a little like weight to it in the bottom, so it stays like this when you cast it out. And then you can hop it through the pads like this or through, you know, any swampy muck area. It walks pretty good. It's got a good slashing action. And then you can actually swim it subsurface. So once you break through the pads, you get to the edge of the pad line, you can actually reel down. It'll go into the water and just slash around like this, like nice and slow. Kind of kind of legit. I like it. I had to bend these hooks out, so the hooks go down. So I did get one blow up, complete whiff on that fish though. And you know, I think part of it could be like the hook position. So I tried bending the hooks up. They're not very easy to bend. So now they're all scratched up and I don't want to give them to you because that would be mean. I'm going to try bending them out even further and then I'll go fish with this thing again because I know it can hook up into a bass. All right guys, from the MTB box, I told you I was going to put this in my lipless, but I'm just going to give it to you. It's like, I don't need more lipless baits. You guys can have it. You can enjoy it. It will catch fish. I promise you that. It is not the value that MTB said it was, but it's a bait nonetheless. The other bait I'll throw in is actually the first bag of plastics. These are great stick bait worms. You guys are gonna love these. So I'm gonna throw these to you, mostly because there's no other body baits I can throw you. So there's MTB. Last up, we got our boys, Monster Bass. So let's see what this month brought us. Off the top, plastics, line, and hooks I'll knock out. The only thing of plastics we got in this month's box were these Z-Man Finesse frogs, or the Toad Z as my boy Paul likes to call them. But these frogs are dope. We've actually got a video going up on the Monster Bass channel here pretty soon on how to fish these things, as well as a few other baits that came in the box from yours truly and other people on the team. So stay tuned for those and go subscribe to the Monster Bass channel. That said, all you had to do was rig this up to the EWG hook that came in the box as well, the Katana hooks. Unfortunately, those hooks were a little bit too long, so I downsized it, but it'll work nonetheless. Paul actually featured a cool way to rig this thing on the video, so you guys can check this out too. He just hooked it a little bit more below the chin. So yeah, go check out the On the Water review, you'll see that. But yeah, these legs, they're kicking up water, they're moving. It's super light. So I threw it on a spinning setup, cast that out there, and we were just fishing this over like shallow cover or under trees and getting bites on it all day long. Next two things in the box were terminal. So we actually had some canine fluoro line. I'll tell you, this is a pretty sweet line. Paul actually spooled up a bait caster with this stuff. Cast really well, seemed really strong. We were throwing some weightless worms, craws, and tubes and getting bites on them. And I mean, this thing held up really good. So all in all, like, it's line, it's something you need. I'll tell you guys that I have enough fluoro, so I'm gonna throw this in the box as well. I think we can get you a box this month that has like everything you could possibly need to just hammer on the water. So you're gonna get you some canine fluoro right there. Then we had those Katana OWG, that offset wide gap hook. Sharp hooks, well made. I mean, it's just up there on like decent hooks. I do like them. I think they're great hooks. It's something that I'll keep in the terminal box and use in the future. I mean, they're gonna catch fish. It's a hook, man. You need it. You gotta stab the fish in the face to catch fish. Next up in the box, we had the Monster Bass Patriot 2.0. So this is actually a pretty fantastic topwater walking bait. Heard from a few guys in the comments like some tips for this thing. Maybe move the red hook to the back. You might hook up a little bit more. Something where you just swap those trebles. It might help. All in all, for a walking bait, because of the curvature of the body, this thing walks really well. Case in point, we'll have a video on the Monster Bass channel talking about how to fish this thing where Jeremy from Fishing the Lone Star was hammering on the water with this thing. It's a great bait. Am I good at fishing it? Not yet. I'm gonna work on it, I promise you guys. Walking the dog will be something I work on improving. It's a really well-made bait. The paint job on this thing is fantastic. I think the action is good for it. You know, the day that we fished it, Paul and I walked this all around the lake. We just did not have any luck. And that happens sometimes, right? It just wasn't a topwater day. We were struggling with even the popper, but we still got most of the baits in the box done. So, I mean, we made it happen. Then we had the Bass Hick popper. Now this popper is really well made. Love the colorway. You got like even these red flecks, this little detail on the belly, which adds a little extra flash. Feathered back treble is tied really well. These are like some light wire trebles, so it's something good to throw on like a lighter spinning setup. Cast a mile, super easy to cast, and then just giving it a nice pop. That little like scooped mouth was spitting water really well. Love the eyes on these things. They're phenomenal, like up there with 6th Sense eyes. I think it's a really well-made popper. It's the size popper that I love to fish as well. This is something that I will be using a lot in the future for sure. And then we had our buzzbait, the Excite buzzbait. I'd show you it, but it's at the bottom of the lake. 2 of them are in the same exact spot because I didn't check my reel and Snapped off 2 of them. Sorry about that. All in all, it did look like a really good buzzbait. Color wasn't something I would throw all the time, but I think it was well made, and you know, you guys know buzzbaits catch fish. So it probably worked great. I just love to see the action on the water with it, that's all. So we'll get back to it. Last 2 things we had in the box were the frogs, right? So we had the Booyah Toad Runner Jr., which I think is fantastic. Look, it's still got swamp stuff on it, cool. And then we had that Hendrix frog, one of my favorite frogs. You guys want to see a lot more detail on these? Go check out my frog fishing how-to video over on the Monsterbass YouTube channel. But let's do a quick breakdown on these. Hendrix frog. This is one of the best walking frogs I've ever used. It casts a dang mile. It's a 1/2 ounce frog, but it casts better than most frogs I've cast. And you know, just these added like the arm details, I think this was like the game changer. These arms helped it walk so well. It cleared through all the cover. The action is just phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about this frog. I fished a ton of frogs. I have, you know, many frogs in my tackle supply. And this is one of my hands down favorite frogs, if not my favorite walking frog at the very least. Skirt length was great, color was great. We fished this on a lake near me where I usually get decent topwater action, and we got it done. I also love this frog. So this is the Booyah Toad Runner Jr. I do have like the regular size Toad Runner. It's a little bit bigger than this, maybe like that much bigger than this, but it has the same setup. So you got like this little boot coming off the back, which is like a prop. It just spins, churns through everything. This thing will clear through the deepest of swamp cover. I was surprised by that. I thought it was gonna get clogged up, at least on the boot tail there, but it didn't. It did really well. It pulled through that cover. I caught like 3 bass on this that day. A style of bait I really love fishing a lot. So fantastic frog. That's it for Monster Bass. So let's throw a couple in the box here for you. I'm gonna give you the fluoro, and then just so that you can't say I never gave you anything good, I'm gonna give you the Hendrix frog, which pains me to say. Don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it. Throw you a little added bonus bait here as well. This is a Wow Factor Fishing square bill. These things are, they run a pretty penny, but that way I get you something varied up from not just topwater or super deep. So we get you this guy, which will dive down to about 4 or 5 feet as well. So there we go. So we got 7 baits there, 8. Throw that at you as well. So you got everything you need to have a good day on the water. Let's get some plastics. We got the X-Zone worms going at you. Throw you guys some plasma tails for a shaky head setup or just trick worm fishing. I like those. And I'll throw you some Big Bite Baits craws. So these are in the watermelon. It's called the college craw. 4-inch craw right there. You guys get all of this in this month's giveaway. So again, all you gotta do to enter for a chance to win this giveaway is like this video, help me get it over 1,000 likes, be a subscriber on the channel, and drop me a comment below. Let me know your heartbreaking fish loss story. Well, it's all story time, time to share. And hashtag BurlyFishing, BurlyFishing in that comment. After we hit 1,000 likes, as soon as that happens, as soon as we click over 999, 1,000, I'm gonna go draw a random comment, and that will be the winner. I'll message them as soon as they respond that they are a real human being that lives in the United States or Canada. I will send them this box. I pay shipping, I got you covered. It's all for you, right? So hopefully they enjoy it, and hopefully they go smash some dang fishies with these baits as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all your support on our last giveaway. I wanna see if we can hit 1,000 likes faster than before. I know we can, because you guys are awesome. That's all I got for you today. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you love giveaways and you want to see more in the future, and drop a like on this video. Drop me a comment so you got a chance to win. Ring that notification bell so that you can see when we post more videos and see our future giveaways as well. And then stay tuned for our live broadcast, our live streams of the Burly Fishing podcast every Thursday at 8 p.m. Come hang out with me and my co-host Paul, 8 p.m. Eastern, that is. And come join us Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Me and my buddy Paul, co-host of the Burly Fishing podcast, will be streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. So come hang out with us. Crack a cold one. Pop if you're under 21, dad pop if you're over 21, or mom pop. And just hang out. You can chat with us. We'll be responding to chat throughout the entire hour. And then we'll be talking about topics that range from everything that you could possibly talk about with fishing. Otherwise, we'll see you out on the water. Hey there, thank you so much for watching the video today. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to click this circle, wherever it is right here, to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch more videos or check out a playlist from me, you can check out this video over here, this general area, or this video over here. So you got lots of options.